We're speaking with Tom Oberheim here at NAMM 2017. Tom, you're one of the greats of synthesizer design. How did you get started?
You mean designing synthesizers?
Or anything?
Well, actually, the way I got started was in the 1968, 1969 period, a woman that had a rock group, kind of a electronic rock group, came to me, I think in '68, and said I met her at UCLA. She said, we need a ring modulator. I had no idea what it was. I went to the engineering library at UCLA. Read through the library until I found something that I could understand what a ring modulator did, and then I started making some. One of my early ones was used by Don Ellis, who had a big band in the 60s and 70s. Then a musical instrument company in Chicago came to me and said, well, let us sell it in the music market. So that's how I got started.
You have here a couple of things that look like they might be early designs of yours.
That's right. The unit over here that that's with the yellow and black.
Okay.
That is a ring modulator that I.
So this is what you were just referring to.
Yeah, exactly. That's my first commercial electronic music product in 1970.
And this is what the company came to you and said, we'd like you to make something.
That's right, except they didn't like the graphics, so we had to tone down the graphics, but well, yes.
On the back here it says Oberheim Electronics.
Well, I built some of these myself, and then later built them and they had their name on them.
And then you also built this here.
And this was my second electronic music product. And it was sold under the name Maestro, even though I designed it and made them. So the first phase shifter that a performing musician could use.
And then how did you get into some of you made some very elaborate and very ambitious synthesizers. How did the path take you from these to those?
Well, in 1974, I got the idea to make a small synthesizer module that's sole purpose was to be combined with existing synthesizers, such as the ARP 2600 and Minimoog, to give them additional sound capability. For instance, both the ARP 2600 and the Minimoog had 4-pole low-pass filters, very well-known sound now. So I put a different kind of filter in my synthesizer module to complement it, so you could get a different, a wider palette of sound. But then in 1975, I got the idea to put 4 of my modules together, and then I licensed a digital keyboard from a little company called EMU, and put on the market in the NAMM show in June of 1975, the first polyphonic synthesizer you can buy in a music store.
So the NAMM show, which is where we are here today in 2017, the NAMM show played a big role in your career in building.
But it always has. This is where the new stuff is always shown.
Sure. And so you did that first synthesizer, and then built upon that.
Yeah, I started. That was 1975, and then that was 1975, and then
that was just an impromptu display of your synthesizers.
77, I came out with what was called the OB1 about 4 months before the Star Wars movie came out. Everybody wondered, how did you get that name? Well, it came before that. And then later there's OBX, OBX8, OB8, Matrix 12 expander. over a 10-year period.
Okay. Then you did you did a rack mount synth as well, like.
Yeah, that was in 1995, and that was called the MSR2, and the plan was to have a series of plug-in modules of different technologies, but it was just too big of a project for my resources, so I never got very far with that.
Now, one of the things that was very influential in popular music was I think the DMX drum machine.
Oh, yeah.
Did you talk about your ideas in that one?
In 1979, I met Roger Lynn, who of course invented the digital drum machine, and I talked about maybe doing a partnership with him, but he wanted to do it in his own way. So for the next few years, he would sell the Lindrum LM1 and the Lindrum, while we had the DMX, and we could pretty much. Both Roger and I could sell everything we could make, so we were competitors, but it was never
hostile.
Never hostile. He was a good friend then, and he's one of my best friends now.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
So was that one of the biggest selling products you ever had? Was that drum machine?
I would think so. Certainly, it was the product that had the best profit margin.
What did you think when you heard people having big hits with that drum machine?
Well, the way it worked was in 1985, my first company ended, and I kind of went into limbo, and this was well before the machine became popular in the hip-hop field. So it wasn't until a decade or two later, I heard some of the stuff that the people that made it popular were using.
Really?
Yeah, I was. DMX. The DMX came toward sort of the end of my first company, and so I didn't really hear much about it until the 2000 or whatever. And by then I'd gone off and done other stuff, and I was amazed.
So the thing that was very popular in popular music was no longer being made by you.
Correct.
Oh, wow, I did not know that. So you did a collaboration in the last couple of years with, I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
Dave Smith.
Dave, thank you. Dave Smith.
Yeah.
And
that was a year ago.
Okay, a year ago. And how did that come about?
Well, Dave came to me a year and a half ago and told me about the Prophet 6 and how it was architected, and that it's the analog section of the Prophet 6 the circuit was on 6 little voice cards. And he said, you know what we can do is we can make your synthesizer expander module circuitry on those voice cards. And I said, oh, that's great, let's do it.
It has a very distinctive sound. It has the Oberheim sound.
It does have that.
So tell us about what the Oberheim sound is and why how you were able to put that into that unit.
Well, I mentioned that at the very beginning of this interview, that when I did this synthesizer expander module, I used a different filter than ARP and Moog used, and I've stayed with that filter ever since. And here we are 35 years later in the OB6. It's the same thing. It's a different sound due to the characteristics of the filter.
And those characteristics are something you just like the sound of that aesthetically.
No, originally it was to complement the specific sound of the earlier synths that had what we call a 4-pole low pass. I just did it differently.
So you like those sounds, but this is just to add more color, more flavor to it.
It's like, what do you like, trumpets or trombones?
Okay. Now you have some products here today. What are you showing at the NAMM show 2017?
The main thing I'm showing is a new version of my original synth module that I call the synthesizer expander module, but in a Eurorack format, because Eurorack is now very popular.
Is that what we're seeing right here?
That is correct.
Down here? This side here. So tell us, so this is actually you going back to your roots, and you put this in what is the Eurorack modular format that is very popular.
Yeah, and in addition to the synthesizer module now in Eurorack format, I'm also going to bring back my two original first products in Eurorack format.
So you actually have these now in Eurorack, or you're going to?
This is a mock-up, but I'll have them in a month or so.
Wonderful. Okay, so this is you're not doing full keyboards anymore, or are you?
Yes, I am. Another product you might say brought back is 1975. I developed a what I called a two-voice synthesizer, because it had two of my synthesizer modules in it, and a keyboard and a sequencer. And a few years ago I decided to bring that back. So I've got, that's my main product right now, is I call a Marion Systems Tom Oberheim two-voice synthesizer.
And these are manufactured by you?
They're manufactured in the Bay Area, yes.
Okay. You're showing these here today, are these?
A couple of them over there, a couple of them over there.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful. You have a whole variety of products then.
Yes.
All right, Tom Oberheim, thank you so much for telling us about your history and about what you're doing with your new products today. Thank you so much, Matt. Thank you.